Hello there and welcome to this special interview. I'm Yassine Rikti. We are here at the International Conference Center. The African Ministerial Conference on Local Production of Medicines in Algiers comes to its final days. This summit is a key moment in implementing the pharmaceutical manufacturing plan for Africa, the roadmap that aims to build regional capacity, reduce dependence on imports and secure medicines for our people. Today I'm joined by two guests who bring both practical startup and implementation angles and the ODA NEPAD policy view. Mrs. Shiraz bin Seman, founder of Pitch World Fast and contributor to the PMPA project. Welcome with us, Mrs. Shiraz.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. And also I'm joined by Dr. Janet, who is a senior officer at ODA NEPAD and the program lead for the PMPA. Welcome, Dr. Janet.
Thank you for having me.
So to start up here, we have a main question that is very special during this interview. What makes Algiers the right place for accelerating the PMPA, Dr. Janet?
Thank you very much. Very good question. Just as a reminder to our listeners and to you, the African Union collectively had a special summit 20 years ago in 2005 in Nigeria, Abuja, and decided to elevate the conversation around the production of antiretrovirals, anti-malarials, and anti-TB at the time when HIV was about to wipe out this continent. And they made a decision to take advantage of the TRIPS flexibilities in order to start manufacturing medicines on the continent. That is when it was born, the decision to develop a pharmaceutical manufacturing plan for Africa in order to address the medical needs of essential medicines required to treat those three diseases. Today, that has gone beyond those three diseases to address the unique diseases that affect the African continent. So we have depended on medical products imported from the rest of the world, especially India and China and Europe, and now the African continent more than ever after the 2020 COVID pandemic have decided to further accelerate our security of the medical products that we need to address the diseases that affect the continent. Today we are in Algeria because Algeria is a country that is 80% dependent on products produced within the country. That is the kind of target that we want to have for the continent. I know that the African Union has set ourselves to achieve 60% of product security in terms of vaccines by 2030. And we'd like, starting from today, to use the lessons learned from Algeria in order to inform how best we can accelerate continentally the achievement of this target.
Indeed. Just briefly for viewers, so what is the NEPAD or ODA NEPAD plan for PMPA business plan for the next 3 to 5 years ahead?
We have prioritized a list of 24 products, and these 24 products are ranging from those responding to infectious diseases like HIV, TB, and malaria, and also for diagnostics, rapid diagnostics for those diseases. We have prioritized also some products for non-communicable diseases, others for maternal health, maternal child and newborn health products, as well as for neglected tropical diseases. These 24 priority medical products are just to help us to be able to focus our investments towards these products. And in the next 5 to 10 years, we are hoping that we will be self-reliant on the continent's capability to supply these medical products.
Great. I move to Mrs. Pinsaman. For the same question or a similar one to Dr. Jeanette. If the Algiers Declaration achieves an outcome or one result, one common purpose, an aim, what should be it?
Wow. Having participated to some of the meetings, there have been a lot of talks, there's been a lot of declaration, we have like some frameworks, so nowadays it's really more about seeing how to implement it and actualize it. Dr. Jeanette was mentioning the 24 the prioritized products, so now it's also identified which countries could actually produce them, potentially seeing what are the type of partnerships that could happen. We had like some meetings where some countries are interested in importing from Algeria some of the products, as we have our Algerian producer that can export, but also identifying what is missing here in Algeria. For example, while we do produce some injectables, we do not have a lot of injectables that are produced locally. So trying really to map out a little bit where are all the different hubs, what are the main competitive advantages, and then actually discussing concretely with the different delegations where each one of them can contribute and how to contribute them.
Exactly. And yourself, your company has helped with PMPA related projects. So can you tell us a bit what are the fastest or highest impact projects that our African continent needs now?
I think we nowadays, if we do take the framework that PMPA is putting aside, I think we truly need nowadays to identify where the different hubs are going to be. When we're talking about production, one thing that I do appreciate that have been said throughout this conference is that, yes, we do need to produce, but not all countries can produce everything. That has been said enough, so I think that now it's really stuck into people's mind. So now we really need to work towards identifying through those hubs, seeing where it's the competitive advantage of each of the countries, who are going to be maybe focusing more on the APIs, who are going to be doing more for certain therapeutic areas, who are going to do the vaccines, who are more into the logistics, second packaging, so that truly we can have a true value chain built when it comes to the pharmaceutical industry. So again, walking the talk and not just continuing to talk about those different products.
Yes. So thank you. We move on to Dr. Jeanette. Dr. Jeanette, what is exactly, we have been also attending to your panel yesterday, which was about AI use in pharmaceutical industry production. So what exactly is AI in pharmaceutical manufacturing and how does it help?
So as you know, the pharmaceutical manufacturing industry is a very complex industry, and Africa hasn't been competitive enough. We need to leapfrog old technologies and begin to embrace new technologies, especially the use of AI. It's going to help us in order to become more efficient in the way we produce. So we produce more, we produce faster, and we produce better if we use these new technologies. For example, using artificial intelligence, we would be able to achieve quality control measures that are required by the World Health Organization to certify a manufacturing facility as a good manufacturing practice or as a manufacturer that's compliant with the standards, international standards, in order for us to also be able to export across our own countries or outside of the continent. We need to really enhance our capability when it comes to technology. And AI is the first step we think we need to start with. We won't be able to achieve this, though, if our countries and our data systems are not digitized. We don't have data sufficient enough, credible enough to, it's also not digitized, it's not ready for extracting the intelligence that can be used to drive the industry. So that is where the investments really needs to go to if we have to be competitive.
Yeah. You argued that AI also enables efficiency, quality, and competitiveness. So can you give me one concrete example of efficiency or quality gains AI can deliver in small factories?
So just to take us a little bit back, today's African manufacturing ecosystem shows that the actors in the industry are mainly small and medium enterprises. And the small and medium enterprises do not have sufficient funding, do not have sufficient access to the technology that we need. And so we would need to leapfrog by developing hubs, for example, in different countries. I know that South Africa, Algeria, Egypt, Kenya have started investing in AI centers. These AI centers can be used to accessible to other countries who are interested in developing medicines using their AI systems. So I would we are recommending the establishment of regional centers of AI, excellent, where there is licensing to each other to allow for access to this AI instrument, AI capability, to allow for the various companies to work together, and so that we can achieve a common goal of ensuring that our manufacturing is competitive. We are producing as regional manufacturers rather than as individual country level, because that's what is going to make us more viable. It's going to make the continent more.
So, Doctor, for governments and SMEs watching, can you maybe tell more about what should a manufacturer budget? What do they need to pilot AI for one production line?
For example, depending on what the problem is that they would want the AI to solve, for example, if it's quality control, if it's quality assurance, we would definitely have to budget it according to the problem that is being tackled. It's also important to understand that there is need for data. We need to invest in the data. We need to invest in the skills. New skills are required today in the AI type of economies that we're building, because currently we don't have sufficient skills to tackle the AI agenda. So what we would suggest, and we continued to talk about during my panel yesterday, was that can we invest in our education system to incorporate in our curricula, especially for the young students, to incorporate AI in their curriculum, so that we develop more and more skills. Also on the company, like during the field, in the field type of training, begin to retrain and reskill and upskill the current human resources within the manufacturing industry.
Thank you, Dr. Janet. I will go back to Mrs. Bin Saman. So do you think that manufacturers, operators are interested in investing in AI technologies in the pharmaceutical industry, and where we can find these funds?
I think when we're talking about artificial intelligence, yes, there are some companies that are interested. Then it depends on each company and their strategy and how they want to implement it. Dr. Janet was talking about whether it is for productivity. It could also be for the quality assurance. It could be for the training. So it's going to depend on where you actually see the priority for each of your companies. Then when it comes to funding, I think that was also discussed yesterday, and we can see there are some artificial intelligence tools that are actually open source that are also free, so it doesn't have to actually be right away a big investment. There's some misconception that actually it is always linked to a big investment, but it's more about what is the priority, what are the priority of the company, where do you want to focus on in your strategy, because one thing that could be interesting is to see how to use AI screening tools to prioritize which products to actually produce that would meet the needs of Africa, or looking at some tools that are linked to traceability or quality assurance. So again, I think it's going to depend on the strategy of each of the company, and looking at what are the tools that do exist, what are the solutions that do exist. Maybe start with those that are open source, that are free, and then just level up little by little.
And maybe using these technologies, many people will use it to see if it's possible to help them reduce the use of raw materials. So can AI really help in reducing the consumption of overusing raw materials?
You will use less and produce more. That is why we're saying because in waste management you're able to use less and waste what goes to waste. Because sometimes because of using our human intelligence or humans are the ones doing the actual assessment, for example, of batches that are supposed to be released, and they make errors. So it reduces the frequency of errors, and therefore you don't have to lose a whole batch because of one error that happened. But because when you use AI, you reduce the number of errors that are possible in the manufacturing line, then you are able to avoid waste.
It will be like an added support to the human assessment.
Exactly.
So it works hand in hand. So some people maybe ask if AI really can replace the human assessment or the human participation in the whole process, industrial process. Is that true, according to you, Doctor?
AI will accompany the human. It will make it faster than a human would have done, but you will need human supervisors to make sure that what the AI is doing is supervised by a human. Because again, we need humans that are supervising rather than humans who are actually doing what AI is now doing. So there is definitely replacement of certain jobs, but then there is now matched with other jobs that have to be now created in order to allow for the efficiency, the system to be more and more efficient.
More efficient,
yes. Most people are worried about losing jobs, but there is other jobs that are created when you get into the AI economy, whereby you need data scientists, you need analysts, you need you need supervisors of within the system. You'll also need to produce more technology, more science students, mathematics, and all of that, in order for us to be able to not only harvest data, but also be able to create the apps, develop the apps that are required in order to have an AI-driven sort of industry.
So here also we speak about AI and training, where AI is used to train technicians, engineers, and data scientists. So what quick training modules or center of excellence should ODA-NEPAD prioritize, according to you?
So we have already established, we are in the process of establishing regional centers of excellence in research and development and innovation. We will use those hubs in different countries to support based on the need. Like we said earlier, every company has got a specific problem they would like to solve to reduce either inefficiencies in production, to automate, and all of that. So it will depend on the need. What we need to do now is establish the infrastructure required for this AI, tap into what is existing, and be able to build on it in creating these regional hubs. In our effort as AUD and NEPAD, we will continue to definitely work with partners with already existing countries which have established an infrastructure for AI in order to harness those investments to build the capability and ecosystem for the production of the priority medical products that we set out for.
There is also something that the companies need to do, which is data collect, and the data availability, Mrs. Ben-Seman, actually is very important for factories. So it's a changing game, but many factories remain largely analog. So what minimal digital infrastructure do they need to have, the data that they need to have in order to expand not only locally, but in the continental areas?
I think in general, when you're looking at the data that you need, you have the basic one for your production, so like the inputs and the outputs, what do you need that you will be producing. Then as we were talking, there's going to be like all the different tools so that you can measure your productivity. You're going to be measuring also the batches related to the quality, what's coming back and all, and other regulatory. You have like some simple CRMs at the end of the day that are already existing. But then one of the data that we are still missing a little bit when companies are looking at exporting is actually data that is that each country has per their import and their export, because this is one information that they need to know from which country they are importing, what is the volume, what is the prices. So then this goes in line with their export strategy, so that they know which market they can go into to see if their product will be interesting if they will find as well a market. And this is also why when we're looking and when we're discussing is also with some of the regulatory agencies, this is why there is a look for digital portals, whether it be with the regulators or with the customs, to have access also to those data so that the companies can have the right strategies, be it for their local production or when it comes to their export.
Great. So to close, can you please give me one measurable delivery that you want to reach in the next 12 months? Maybe projects or any projects or future maybe plans for a policy pilot, a funding window, or regional training center maybe?
Part of the PMPA actually was some technical working groups that we have been working on different areas, being R&D, be it supply chain, trade policy, and incentives. So maybe one of the things that we've been discussing for 1 or 2 years now would be potentially also the implementation of all those some of those technical groups, and seeing together the experience sharing, and really like this we can be implementing. The second one project that we've been working on is with the different customs on the continent, and trying as much as possible to have some more collaboration, some data sharing with the different customs on the continent. So again, having access to this data so that the different market, the different operators can adjust to the needs and adjust their strategy according to that.
The ODA-NEPAD always is here as a monitoring institution, helping the African countries to develop the production processes, especially while speaking about the pharmaceutical industry. So what are your expectations for maybe the next 3 to 5 years?
Our expectations for the next 3 to 5 years would be that we strengthen the various ecosystem areas, ecosystem elements for the PMPA, which includes the access to capital, access to market, access to technology, access to human resources that are skilled, and then we do a little on the intellectual property so that we are able to register our own patents, especially in the new medical products. Then expecting that, given that there's been a lot of momentum around the local production agenda, that the African Union Development Agency, NEPAD, will be able to track the progress over the 20 years of the PMPA and be able to forge ahead in the next few years what that would look like. So we are launching our State of Africa Pharmaceutical Manufacturing report, which will become a standard report every 3 years to capture the progress of what is happening on the continent in relation to the ecosystem areas that we have selected as pillars of the development of the local production agenda.
Thank you so much, Dr. Junette. I repeat, you are a Senior Program Officer at ODA-NEPAD. And thank you so much, Mrs. Benseman. You are founder of Pitch World Fast and also contributor to the PMPA program. Thank you for being with me today. And for you, dear audience, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for keeping it here on All24 News. This is the end of this show for today. Until next time, do take care.